I'm here with Katie Hacker, and Katie's going to show us how to work with a multiple strand wood bracelet. And you have not only multiple strands, but I like the materials that you're using.
Thank you.
More natural.
Yes, I like these too. These are some really great coconut beads. So what's wonderful about using the bead board and doing your multiple strands and the clips make it so much easier because you can make those last minute decisions where you change things out. So I started laying this out and I thought, you know, this really needs some silver. Needs some material contrast, and I'm going to use a silver clasp. So it
almost buys you time, I think.
That's right.
Using something like that, yeah.
That's right. And it helps you just kind of organize things as you go along. So what I did then is added the silver beads in between. And what it's just really simple to squeeze the ears here. Your coil separates in the middle, and you can remove it from your beading wire.
Now, is there a limit to how many strands you could put, have clasped together with your clip?
No, it could quite easily have put all three of the strands in here, but I was concerned that with these larger materials, they might be too close together, and I wouldn't really get a good sense for how they were going to lay out.
That's a good
So
point.
for this particular piece, I used separate ones on each strand.
Okay.
Now, if you were using smaller beads, it would be just fine to clip them all onto one.
Okay, good.
Right, and you can use those again and again.
Okay.
So what you would do then is just, of course, go ahead and remove your beads to add or adjust. So here, like I started with this pattern with the coconut beads doing 3 and then 2 chips, but it was a little too symmetrical for my taste.
Yes,
you know.
I know.
I had to throw a little something random in there. So then, you can go back, change your pattern out a little bit, and here I just added 1.
Okay.
So that was just to keep the blue chips from being right next to each other and also to just mix it up a little. And because I had the clip, I hadn't attached my clasp yet, I could go ahead and kind of make those last minute adjustments.
Right.
And multiple strand pieces, I think, can be a little intimidating because there are so many kind of decisions to make as you're working. So it's really helpful to have some of these
It's really like
tools.
making 3 bracelets or 3 necklaces as opposed to making 1.
Right. So if you have the right tools, it just makes things so much simpler.
Now, let me ask you something about the length, which is interesting, which is also a good reason why you can have it all kind of attached together like that. Is that, do you have to make it a certain length? Like, for instance, if you want your bracelet maybe to be 7 inches, do you have to make the center a little bit shorter, the 2 outer ones a little bit longer, so that when you wrap it around and clasp it, which I'm sure the bead board helps with too?
The bead board helps with that. And another thing that you can do is if you have the clips on your wires, you can just pick this up.
Yeah.
Pick up each piece, wrap it around your wrist.
Without fear of, woof.
That's right, without fear of losing it and to see. But
Depends on how you want it to drape.
Right. It does take a little bit of finagling, I think, at the end. Okay. So what I do is factor in the amount of space that the clasp is going to take up.
Why don't you do the clasp?
So for the clasp, I just chose a piece that has loops that are a little farther apart than you would usually expect because I'm using these larger materials. I want to make sure that your strands all lay nicely when you're finished.
Okay.
Okay, so if you take a look at the finished one here, you could use crimps or you can use the set screw finding. Whatever way that you traditionally finish a piece, you can use the same method here to attach the strands to the end bar.
And I like that you have the little chain with the bead at the end of it
yeah,
too.
It just adds a little something extra.
Now, do you have any tips for us for working with larger beads?
Yes. So these are some works in progress. And when you're working with large beads, especially, they can be kind of hard to handle. So you want to make sure that you keep them the way that you want as you're working. And what I do often is just sit with a piece, too. So like this big necklace, I wanted to add silver spacers to once I had a look at it.
Yeah,
I realized I needed to go back.
And of course, you can see also with the multiple strand bracelet similar to what we just made.
Right.
Which is great. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.